Hey, I'm Claire.
And I'm Janice.
And this is The X-Files, a podcast about breakups, broken hearts, and moving on.
We are breakup coaches here to help you beat your breakup,
Heal your broken heart,
and move on to an amazing, abundant life.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The X-Files, Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On. I'm Claire, and my co-host Janice is here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. And so today we are talking about another very common question that we get as coaches and also from other podcast listeners like yourself. Quick side note, definitely send us your questions in the
Yes.
because we might make an episode out of them,
like
we are doing right now. But this is a very common question that we have gotten, and that is, will I ever love anyone as much as them?
Yep.
Yeah.
Who hasn't thought that after a breakup?
Who hasn't thought that? Yeah. And it's like this idea of the one and somehow being able to miss out on the one possibly by some mistake or just timing or whatever. And so we're going to address that today. Will I ever love anyone as much as them? Our personal philosophy with it, our experience with it, and some actions that you can take to help yourself.
Yes, this would be considered a very comprehensive look at this question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, like I sometimes say, get your pen and paper, or at least, pay attention, because we're going to cover it all.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
All right. So I thought it might be kind of interesting for us to touch on our own personal experiences with this. So in prepping for this episode, I did actually sit down and I thought, all right, I'm going to tell a story about a time that I felt this way and how I moved on. And it was really funny because I sat down and I do think about my past relationships a lot, being a podcaster and a breakup coach.
Yeah.
But I couldn't think of a time that I said this after one of my breakups. But this was a really beautiful moment for me because I am sure that I did say that. I really want to highlight that I've had devastating breakups with, passionate men, passionate relationships that, really, really broke my heart. And so I would absolutely expect that I said this. In fact, like people from my past, feel free to remind me.
Yeah.
But my point is that I did love again. I had other passionate relationships. I'm very happy now. And that I got over this so much to the point that I'm not even thinking about it anymore. This isn't even something that I have in my memory.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so hard to relate to those past experiences once you've grown through them and come out of them. You're like, who was I?
Oh, completely. Yeah. And in fact, I also want to say that I do remember having other moments of this kind of doomsday type thinking after breakups. I do remember after the breakdown of my marriage that I said, I just can't imagine overcoming this pain. Yeah. I mean, that ended big time.
Yeah. And I think that's like a variation on this theme. This is like, will I ever love anyone as much as them? And I guess thinking I'll never get over this pain is a slight variation. Like there's some nuance, but
oh yeah, I'm just saying that when we have kind of devastating moments in our lives, these are the types of things that go through our head. Will I ever? I will never. Yeah. And that you do. I mentioned to you earlier, but I've also had some really rock bottom moments in my life where I just thought I'm never going to be able to pull myself out of this. And the more that you can tell yourself that this is temporary thinking, the more that you can look forward, and that, all of these things did end and are parts of my past.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I think one of our points coming later is that as you experience these moments, it gives you ammunition and like reassurance that like, hey, I survived something really hard once. This is just like that. It's going to pass.
Right. I completely agree. And it is really wonderful to look back and think, whoa, what was I thinking? Look how far I've
Yeah.
come. Really wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just want to touch on this now and then hear from you is
Yeah.
just the issue of self-love.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you are thinking this, will I ever love this other person again? I think what you might come to realize is that you'll love yourself as much as this other person in no
Mm.
time. And that once
So
you
good.
develop this love of self, you will realize, wait, I actually deserve more than that. Regardless of how good the relationship was or
Yeah.
wasn't, you deserve a relationship that is, like I say, delightfully functional, and that you might be glad that it ended, and that you're full of hope for the future because you know that yeah, you deserve the best.
Yeah, exactly. And, really focusing on that self love is so important because, we're born alone, we die alone. Like, we're going to have to be alone.
Yeah.
Most women outlive their men in their lives. So
Oh
you will
my.
probably be alone,
Yeah.
even if you find the one till death do you part. You
Right. And
know?
you should enjoy being alone because, yeah, it
Yeah.
makes you more interesting. It makes you a happier person.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's lighten that really macabre
Right.
mood I just
I was just going to
introduced.
say
Uh,
you're getting very serious very
yeah,
quickly, but
but I think there's something freeing in realizing that and being like, this is all temporary.
yeah.
Even if I found the one in high school and I was with them until the very end,
Mhm.
it was still temporary.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good point. And regardless of, like I said again, how good or bad the relationship it was, you're telling yourself these things. You're in some level of pain. You
yeah.
deserve to be in a relationship that doesn't lead to this. So
Yeah.
yeah, put yourself first.
Exactly. Yeah. And as for me, I've definitely thought this thought multiple times.
Okay.
I still identify as a romantic, maybe not a hopeless romantic, but
Mhm.
a romantic nonetheless. And so, when things do end, and have ended in my past, I do have those moments of thinking like, was this it? Was this as
Mhm.
good as it gets? Like, am I just screwed now? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
so
normal.
yeah, it's totally normal, completely normal. And like I mentioned earlier, have the reassurance knowing that you've gotten over this before. Maybe it was a crush in middle school. Maybe you have
Totally.
had relationships before where you're just like, this is it, this is the person. And you're like, how did this possibly end? Where do I go from here? Um, some of the other perspectives that have really helped me, I'll share later in this episode.
Okay.
But just knowing this will pass and knowing that makes it easier. Another metaphor that I just love so much, and I think it's a cliche, but it's the
It's a cliche
butterfly.
for a reason. This is a
Yeah, it's a
good
cliche for a
metaphor.
reason. But I didn't really know this until recently. I didn't know
Oh,
what
tell
the
me.
fuss about butterflies was about, but now I
Hello.
get it. I know.
I have two butterfly tattoos for a reason.
Yeah.
I find them so
Exactly.
fascinating.
And once I knew this story, I'm like, okay, I totally get it. But a butterfly starts out as a caterpillar, right? And then they enter the cocoon. But inside the cocoon, they don't just morph into a butterfly. They literally disassemble into
Hmm.
goo. They have no form. And from that goo, they become a
It's
butterfly. So
insane.
is this complete breaking down of who you are in order to become something that's not just like more beautiful and better, but also more capable, has more freedom than the caterpillar who has to like walk around with all its legs. Um,
All
so
those legs.
all
What
those
a
legs.
drag.
Yeah. So I just thought that was beautiful. And I had never heard of that. So I can't be the only person who somehow made it this far through life without hearing that metaphor. So share it for the benefit of the one person who
No, that's
slipped
really
under a
good.
rock.
It reminds me of the lotus blossom as
Mhm.
well, which blooms on top of mud, which is also
Yeah.
another one of my tattoos for that exact reason.
Ah,
So, yeah,
look at
sometimes
that.
we need these experiences to
Yeah.
shape ourselves.
Exactly.
So if you are thinking this way, like we said, it's totally normal. It's okay. A lot of people / most people go through this thinking after a breakup. And so we want to help you through it. So we've got a list of things to remember, to both give you perspective and to help you move forward.
Awesome.
The first is that, like we've said before, these messages and these thoughts that we keep on repeating, this is going to be a matter of reprogramming your mind so that you don't continue playing this over and over. Because the more we tell ourselves, I will never love again, I'll never love someone as much, will I love someone as much as them? I mean, think about it. You're putting them and love and as much, in the same sentence,
Yeah.
and it's just embedding it in your brain. It's,
Mhm.
it's making it worse to ask it, as
Yeah.
normal as it is. So stop and write this down. I love myself and deserve the best. Or you could write down, if you know that you want to be in a relationship sometime in the future, you could write something like ecstatic love is waiting for me.
Mhm.
And try and catch yourself in the moment when you're longing for them or wondering if things are going to ever be as good, and try and tell yourself one of these messages instead.
Yeah. Yeah, because what you focus on will grow. And
It's
that's not
true.
just, I mean, on this micro level of thoughts, it's like the
Mhm.
more you repeat something, the more you're building those pathways in your brain, the easier it is for that to pop back into your head. And it's just a feedback loop from there. So you
Yeah.
want to interrupt that pattern as much as you can.
You get
Yeah.
used to thinking thoughts the more you think them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I, for some reason, will think of kind of like the same thing each morning. And it's
Mm-hmm.
been something that, and it's not always the most positive things. Like sometimes I think about a particular thing I'm stressed about. And I've just noticed, like the more I allow myself to think that in the morning, the more my body gets used to thinking about that in the morning.
Exactly.
So, yep.
Exactly.
Affirmations, baby. Write those down.
Write those down. All right. So, another perspective that may help you is to look at it like this. Every relationship is different. You will not ever feel the same way about someone else as you do or did about your ex, but that's a good thing. You wouldn't want to be here replaying the same feelings with multiple people over and over again. That should
True.
not be the goal. In fact, if you find that you're dating the same person over and over again with just different last names, probably something going on there that you need to
Right.
dig into. We are here to have different experiences, to evolve and to metamorphosize, or however that would be.
Metamorphize?
Metamorphize?
One
I
of
don't
those.
know. I don't know. But you
Evolve.
get
We're
what
here
I'm
to
saying.
evolve.
We're here to evolve. We're here to grow. We're here to try new things, new flavors, meet new people. And those memories do become a part of us, but you don't want to feel the same way as you did about your ex with
Yep.
anyone new. So,
True. You will love again in a different
mhm,
way.
exactly.
So, and let's just be honest, people kind of hate to hear this after a breakup, but there are, of course, many fish in the sea, and there are multiple people that you will love in your lifetime because you'll have chemistry with multiple people. That is just how humans work. We mesh with a lot of people over the course of our lives. And
Mhm.
so, if you continue to work on yourself, continue on improving your past relationship patterns, learn how to spot healthy people who you want to be in a relationship with, when you're dating, when you feel chemistry, this will eventually or could eventually turn into love.
Yeah.
And this is also why it's important to take things slow when you're dating, because you do end up having chemistry with a lot of people. And so you need to kind of step back when when you feel this chemistry and look at other things like compatibility, how this other person shows up in relationships, and then decide if it's good to pursue it.
Mhm.
I mean, if you think about it, this is why so many people end up in either numerous relationships or bad relationships, because you mesh with lots of people.
Yeah,
You're amazing and other people are amazing and you'll click.
exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. More than one opportunity for life, love.
Right. You might look back later on and think that it was actually really cool that you had a variety of relationships.
Exactly.
Have you ever seen the movie How to Make an American Quilt?
No.
It's really old school. It has Winona Ryder in it during her heyday of the 90s. Anyways, there's a character in it who's, I don't know, in her 50s or 60s, and she has had lots of different relationships in her life. And she's just this really magnetic, sexy woman who tells all these stories about her past lovers. And I always just thought that was kind of cool. I know that's not everyone's approach to love, but
Yeah.
it's
No, I love
a neat
that.
way to look at it.
I love that
Um,
trope.
we will look at chemistry and the role it plays in our relationships later in the episode.
Awesome. Yeah. So here we go. On to our next point. Love changes us. You
Oh,
won't be
yeah.
the same person as you were before this experience with your ex. So it makes sense that you would wonder if anything will ever be as powerful. And part of that is accepting the relationship and truly processing and getting over someone.
Mhm.
So when you entered into that relationship, you were not the same person as you are right now. And therefore, you're going to look at the world differently. You now have that experience under your belt as a reference point. And so you can't return to that same naivety, I guess.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good
Mhm.
point. Yeah, even if to go back into that relationship, you wouldn't be able to do it from this standpoint.
I also believe that once you have loved someone, and I mean truly love someone, I think you can have attraction with people and never actually reach that love, even
Yeah.
if in the moment it's a little confusing.
Hmm.
But if you have loved someone, you will always love the person that you fell for. But
Okay.
they change, you change too. And that person, maybe that person you fell in love with was a facade. Maybe, they were projecting a different image than they actually were. And so you're in love with the fantasy of who that person
Yes.
was or
And
could have
the
been.
person during the honeymoon period. If you're
Yeah,
thinking this way, you're thinking about the honeymoon period.
exactly. So that
Yep.
honeymoon period, yeah. So that person will forever be in your mind, but they only exist in your memories. They have changed. They've grown from the relationship just like you have, even if it was, all true and real in the moment. The world has moved on. I think it's really beautiful how we humans can hold what is past in our hearts while also experiencing the present.
It can be really hard to see this when you're in the pain of losing someone, to think, I'll still love them, but I'm going to move on. That, I think that's hard in the early days. So I would kind of say in this case to take it from a couple people who know, and
Yeah.
just trust us.
Yeah, just trust us. Having a love for someone in your past is
Mhm.
not the same as wanting to be with them now. You
Yep,
can
good point.
love
Hmm.
who that person was when you knew them and still not want to return to that part. So embrace
Right.
that complexity.
Yeah, something
Um,
that's helped me, because, I don't keep in touch with, kind of like my main relationships that I've had, but something that's helped me is thinking, what am I grateful for to the relationship for? And, I can I find peace that way, that it served me in different ways.
the only constant in life is change. So, you know, just embrace that complexity. And you do have to find acceptance that the person you fell in love with likely doesn't exist anymore. They've
Yeah.
changed, you've changed, but it'll always be there in your memories. And the sting of those memories only being memories, that will fade. You'll
Yeah.
be able to look back on these times with gratitude and without longing. So, it's beautiful that you've been able to experience love like this and also loss like this. It's part of having a full experience as a human. Living fully means feeling deeply.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You wouldn't be living fully if you weren't having passion in your life. Keep
Exactly.
going.
Yeah, keep going.
Oh, I love that one. All right. So this isn't perhaps as exciting as we just left that off, but if you're thinking this way, then chances are you haven't fully grieved and let go of your ex. And just to keep on telling yourself that this is part of the grieving process, you need to figure out a way to let go of some of these things and leave it in your past. And the perfect example of this is the song Nothing Compares to You,
Oh,
which in this case, I'm not going to sing. Nothing compares.
compares to you.
It's a beautiful song. It is. It's a very lovely song.
Yeah.
But, and this is a big but.
Big butt. It's a
This
capital
is
butt.
someone, yeah. This is someone who is spending their entire day thinking about a person, pouring their heart into the agony of the loss. So think to yourself, how far along do you think this person is on their healing journey? That they're thinking these things.
Yeah, they're not that far along on their healing journey. This is,
Right.
this is the beginning, and it's natural to have these thoughts, but know that they're going to pass.
Yeah.
And, I think it's interesting, being an artist and writing a song from the heart and from the place that you once were, and then having to sing it every day on stage. I
Right.
think that's probably
I
pretty
would hope that
hard.
she got past it. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is not, these aren't, healing thoughts. But I guess this would be another big but. This is part of the healing and the grieving process.
Yeah.
Right. And it is also something that you need to go through if you do want to date or be in relationships again.
Exactly.
Because if you're holding on to this past person, you're completely blocking anyone new from coming in your life. And it, I guess, will become like a self-fulfilled prophecy.
Yeah.
You won't love again if you're dwelling on this. So you need to figure out what to do to get it out of your system. Yep. So I've done various work in this area for a while, and I know that this is basic dating advice or advice as far as how to, quote, manifest your soulmate, which, isn't quite how I think about things, but I know that that's how a lot of people think about it. And people who are wanting to call in someone are told to think about the role that their ex plays in their thoughts and what they need to do to release their ex so that they can call in someone new.
Yes.
So this might not be completely relevant to you if you're not really ready to date, but if you're hoping to in the future, I mean, this would be something to focus on. And if you don't, and you want to still have the one in your life, this will be the easiest way to prevent someone new from coming in.
Yeah. And just know, if you're having this thought and you're thinking it, it doesn't mean that it's true. Pretty much everyone has this thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the fact that you're like questioning whether this person was like your one opportunity for happiness in partnership, that doesn't mean that there's anything to prove that or anything to make that true. It's just a totally natural thought to have, and you shouldn't read into it.
Yep, this is a really good point. Thank you so much. When we're grieving or when we're stressed, when we're anxious, I know, a lot of people struggle with that today. Our thoughts are not rational. These are the thought, like our mind is trying to make sense of what our body is feeling. And it's not true, and it's not even rational.
Yeah, that's so true. This next one is, your ex is your ex for a reason.
Love this so much.
Yes. There was likely something off about the relationship that caused it to end. Even if you're having trouble seeing what it was right now, there was a reason.
There definitely was.
Yeah, you're saving yourself a lot of heartache in the future by having this ending happen now and not later. That turmoil of knowing that something was wrong and the fact that you couldn't fix it, that adds to the drama, and that you interpret as chemistry and longing, because your brain is trying to make sense of why you're feeling so terrible.
Yes.
And they're like, well, it must be because this was your person and you've lost something very unique and special. But that's not true. A healthy relationship may feel like it doesn't have as many sparks because there's just simply less drama in a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
a
I
lot
want
of
to talk
us,
more about this in the
yeah,
future because
yeah.
there's a lot of red flags when it's overly passionate in the
Yeah, if it's
beginning.
overly passionate, it, I think some people end up not dating people they don't feel that chemistry with because that person would actually be a healthy partner for them. But they're used to, whether it's from childhood or from past like really ingrained relationship experience, they read those sparks and that chemistry as chemistry, when really what it is that their childhood wounds are being activated, that this person is not healthy for them, that they're being controlled, they're being manipulated. There's these ups and downs. It's really highly dramatic. And it's like, and you'll go on a date with someone who would be a really good match for you. And you're like, I don't know what it is. I just don't feel the chemistry. It's
Well,
like,
there's
no,
a
give that
difference.
person a chance.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Right. And there's a difference between chemistry and a whirlwind romance. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people either don't know the difference or for some reason feel like they want the whirlwind. And so they're not
Yeah.
able to see what is quote
Yeah.
chemistry, which to me is
Yeah.
when you click and you get on with a person.
Yeah. And
But
if
it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be like a sweeping you off your feet type
Mhm.
situation necessarily.
Exactly. And if that's what you're used to, then
Right.
by comparison, regular old chemistry where you just click with someone will feel like, oh, this is a really good friendship.
I've done this, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm like shaking my head like it's gonna fall off because I have the pattern of wanting the excitement, and
Exactly.
then I find myself getting bored. But
Yeah.
I've learned that it's not healthy and it's not good for me because it doesn't lead to the healthiest
Yeah. Has
relationships.
that ever worked out well for you?
Me, no.
Yeah. So, I like to compare it, old school Taylor Swift, because, Fearless is getting redone. So I had to
Aw.
bring back a song, How I Loved You. And there's like that, I mean, any line in this would work, but it's screaming and fighting and kissing in the rain. It's 2 a.m. and I'm cursing your name. I'm so in love that I acted insane. And that's the way I loved you.
Yeah,
And
sounds
she's
great.
literally talking about this exact thing. She's like, he's great, he's wonderful, but I feel nothing for this
Mhm.
person that I'm now with. And I miss that crazy, psychotic, just,
Mhm.
uh,
Well, it gets the
fiery.
blood pumping. It feels good in the body I mean, there's lots of adrenaline, which
Yeah.
I think some people want in relationships.
And the makeup, sex, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting fed these messages our entire life, and we need to, teach young people that that doesn't lead to
Damn
a
it, we're not
healthy
young anymore.
relationship. And, we don't talk about the fact that some of these things are red flags. And
Yeah.
yep, we need to
Yeah.
raise awareness.
Raise awareness.
Hi, podcast community.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else to say on that?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. So we are going to come back to one of our breakup commandments, which is thou shalt know that you will get over this, or no, thou shalt accept this, right?
Yeah, accept the breakup. Accept
Right.
that it's happened.
Mm-hmm. So every time that you find yourself asking if you will ever love again, like I said earlier, train your brain to catch yourself and say, I will let this go. I will love again. These thoughts are temporary. All right.
Yeah.
This is really basic, but yeah, you need to get yourself out of this thinking and continue to tell yourself that you accept that this has happened and that you'll get over it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Short and sweet, but it is.
So, another point. Love is a choice to continue and develop. So, we talked about chemistry just now, and I know that you can't force chemistry where it is not. But when you have chosen a person, maintaining that initial attraction and growing it into love is a choice. And to elaborate on where I'm going with this, I have a quote from Lisa Firestone, who's a PhD, and she wrote this on Psychology Today. says, too often we think of love as almost a passive state of being, as opposed to a conscious choice we make. When we regard love as something we simply fall into, we can easily slip into routines with the person we value or lose a sense of separateness and respect. It's valuable for each of us to define love as an action or a series of actions we can take to bring us closer to the people we value. In a romantic context, some essential characteristics that fit the description of a loving relationship include
Awesome.
expressions of affection, both
Mm-hmm.
physical and emotional, a wish to offer pleasure and satisfaction to the other, tenderness, compassion, and sensitivity to the needs of the other, a desire for shared activities and pursuits, an appropriate level of sharing of possessions, an ongoing, honest exchange of personal feelings, the process of offering concern, comfort, and outward assistance for the loved one's aspirations. Basically, it includes feeling for the other that goes beyond any selfishness or self-interest on the part of the loved one.
I
And
really like this, and I hope,
mm,
and I want to save this because I want us to do some type of episode on chemistry versus compatibility. And
mhm,
this is when chemistry turns into compatibility, and people look
exactly.
past all of this really important stuff when they're caught up in the emotions of new relationship energy.
Exactly. And also, in the ending of a relationship, these actions end. So if we're defining love by actions, we can see
Mm-hmm.
that neither we or our partner is offering the action of love to the other anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
which, like
Well, you can regroup, I think, if two people are committed and, make commitments. This is why I'm a fan of the love languages, because that's a
yeah,
commitment on both sides to, show the other
exactly.
person.
Yeah.
And I guess that's another indication of compatibility. If both
Mhm.
people are dedicated to doing that, you
Mhm.
have love and commitment. And if not, pretty big message.
Yeah. And my point in referencing this is to break out of the fantasy that we've been sold on what love is.
Mm,
Love is a choice and love is an action, and you can choose to be in the action of love with someone again. You feel that chemistry with someone else,
yeah.
you will inevitably feel it. I
Uh-huh.
promise you. And
Yeah.
if you choose to go forward in a relationship with that person, love is the action. Before that, you're just feeling chemistry and lust.
Yes. In fact, I'm going to go on a limb. I didn't run this past you, but I would love it if people would message us and let us know if they've ever had an experience of chemistry versus compatibility, or
Yeah.
thinking that they were in love with someone that they were not at all compatible with. I've experienced this. And I will tell this story on the episode if we do it. And I would love to bring in other stories from people. So
Yeah, that
yes,
would be
please DM
wonderful.
us.
Yeah, DM us. Yeah. And just to tie this up, but the intense desire that you're feeling right now for your ex is likely not love, but that feeling of familiarity, the fear of an unknown future, and the chemical addiction to the roller coaster of drama that probably preceded the end.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah.
Oh man, so many little truths
I
just
know.
in that. Oh, good. Yeah, because we didn't bring up the chemical issues, which we do
Mhm.
often in our episodes.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, I'm seriously, the fear of not knowing what's going to happen, it
Is
is
huge.
really hard to learn
Yeah.
how to live with. It
Yeah.
have being in a relationship, you're able to predict things a lot easier
Exactly.
than you
Even if
are.
it isn't ideal,
Yeah.
predictability is safe to
Mhm.
your brain.
Mhm.
So,
And also, as someone who lives alone, you can learn how to give that to yourself,
mhm.
if you want.
If
So
you want.
um, the next point that we'd like to make is, I think, a really powerful one, and that is that your next love might be better because you are going through this.
Yeah.
So we all learn from experience. I'm sure that's not new to anyone. And I would just encourage you to think of all of the things, based on either your past relationship or this breakup, that you will take into your next relationship. So think about it. You've learned more about what you're looking for. You might have learned more about how you communicate. You might have learned more about what your boundaries are, what your triggers are. You might have learned more about what you will not or will tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
You've learned about your preferences. You may have learned about things to look for early on. The little red flags that we've been kind of talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So you will take all of these things into your next relationship, and it might be just, even better. So
Yeah.
breakups make us stronger. They make us more interesting people. I mean, going through a heartbreak, that shapes a person. That adds what I would call, color to the tapestry of a person's life. So use it.
Yes. Yeah. Another perspective that I love is looking at this relationship and its ending as what you needed to reach your full potential.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
One of my last points, and I guess we've kind of said this already, but the more that you commit to healing and to learning from this experience and growing from it, the more that you will be able to welcome new love into your life.
So good. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
My final point is you can't put love in a box and you can't define love in terms of like order of importance or order of strength.
Yeah.
Like love is love.
Mhm.
Like if you love
That's true.
someone, you
Mhm.
love them. Whether or
Yeah.
not you can see differences in the way you love someone new versus the old, there's just no such thing as ranking love.
Yeah, and something that just came to me is, trying to use this current love that you're thinking about as some type of standard when you're
Yeah.
like in the midst of the pain of the breakup.
Yeah.
I don't really think that that's a good like launching off point.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah. It's not a great place to be
Yeah,
starting.
not a very good starting point.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, what are you going to do if you are having this recurring thought of, will I ever love again? Guess
Yes.
what, dear listener? You've got two coaches here who want to give you some tips to move forward.
Yep. So, first
And we've
things
got
first.
one who has three cats running around, and she
Yeah,
is
so
just
if you
rocking
they're
this.
really active today, so I'm sure you've heard them. We'll try to edit out as much as we can, but they're one is
No, I love it.
directly in front of me right now. um,
They're cheerleading for
they're
you.
cheerleading. They're just really excited about this episode. So first things first, don't keep things in your orbit that remind you of this person.
Yeah.
Yeah, clear your space. It's in
Yep.
the 10 Commandments.
Right, totally. We don't want you looking at pictures. I'd even say, if there's the song that reminds you of them, yep, time to clear out your orbit.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, number 2. Embrace that you are worthy of a loving, delightfully functional relationship. All right?
Woo.
You deserve the best,
Mhm.
and you will get it, either with yourself or with someone else.
Exactly. Next up, don't keep in touch with them. Of course, it feels good. And when you feel good, you subconsciously tell yourself that you feel good because they make you feel good.
Yes.
But that's not what's happening. You're just feeding an addiction. You're
Yep.
feeding an addiction. You need to break that off. Give yourself at least a couple months of no contact. You can always go and establish a friendship if that's what the two of you want to do, but you both need time alone to disengage and to be able to switch gears into friendship instead of a romantic partnership.
Yep. Every time that you get the hit of the feel goods, you're going to tell yourself that you care about them. And then that's going to lead to, look at how much I care about them. Look at how much I can't be
Mhm.
without them. I'm never going to feel this way again. And it's a trick that your mind
It's a trick.
plays on you.
It's okay.
So, number 3, 4,
Mm.
learn to love yourself as much as you loved them. Become your
Yeah.
own soulmate. Take yourself on the solo date nights. Build up
Mhm.
that self love. It's going to make you irresistible, and
Yeah.
this will quickly fade away.
Yeah, exactly. Love yourself. Love yourself.
Yep.
Um, Also, try journaling. I know I was not into journaling before my last breakup, and it really helped to get those thoughts out of my head and onto the paper and just interrupt those thought spirals that I would get into. So, journal what didn't work, what do you want in the future, what are you worthy of? If some repeating patterns start to come up, maybe consider either counseling or working with a coach to help interrupt those repetitive thought patterns and limiting beliefs that may just be keeping you stuck in this point. There's a limit to how much you can coach yourself through things. You need that outside eye a lot of times to see your blind spots and see where you can be releasing yourself.
Yes, that's great. Get support. And yes, I think journaling can really help with this particular mindset. I guess the first thing I would say to anyone who is open to journaling and who's wondering if they'll ever love again would be just to write about the breakup.
Yeah,
A lot of breakups aren't really the happiest times in people's lives. So I would say, what led up to the breakup, write about all of that. And hopefully it will help you more clearly understand why it didn't work out.
exactly.
So last, remember that heartbreak might help you to know that you love being independent. This has been huge for me. And you'll discover new ways of, quote, doing relationships. I mean, if you have a sense of independence, you're going to actually probably enjoy being in relationships more, and people will enjoy being with you more. And
Yeah,
also it's the healthier relationships, when you want to have a sense of independence.
exactly.
So this is a really important time in your life. And that's another reason I became a coach, and something that I really want people to understand is the time after a breakup, the time after a divorce. This can be a really, really juicy time in your life to learn, to grow, and yet to learn about self-care and come out stronger, more magnetic, and excited about life.
Yeah, exactly. And just thinking back to what we said before about how you change in relationships, getting to know this new person that you've become
Yeah.
after a breakup and being like, wow, it's so nice to meet you.
Yes, totally. And you don't really get that opportunity as much when you're in a very committed relationship. So if you are having this mindset, please, like we've already said, know that it's normal, but know that it's temporary, and
Yeah.
know that you've got this.
You've got this. This too shall pass. You're
Yep.
going to be okay. Be the butterfly. You're currently in liquid form. It's all
Yes.
good. You're going
Be
to
the
grow some wings.
butterfly. Yeah, we
Yeah.
wish you the best of luck, and we look forward to hearing from you about this. And keep rocking your breakup.
Yeah, talk soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to X-Files, a podcast about breakups, broken hearts, and moving on.
If you like this episode, tag us on your Instagram story so we can connect with you.
And you can find me, Claire, on Instagram at Claire Lofthouse.
And me, Janice, on Instagram at Janice Formicella. If you'd like to join our online community, find us on Facebook at Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On. Talk soon.
Bye. And here's a preview of our next episode.
The idea of this too shall pass, but sometimes we get really stuck in needing to know, especially if you're the one that's been broken up with. I just want to know. I just want to understand. And this is really putting the power back onto the other person. So just being solid enough in yourself. You don't need all the answers. The transformation that we can have from discomfort and breakup and the learnings, our breakups can also be very much a signal of, okay, this is something I don't desire in my relationship. So when I'm looking for the next time around, I have more clarity around what it is that really serves me, that then serves and feeds the relationship.